You're listening to Engaging Early Learners. I'm Rachel Glassman, special education teacher and resource creator. This podcast is your go-to for classroom strategies and teaching support that you can actually use. Whether you're on your way to work or heading home, I'm so glad you're here. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Engaging Early Learners. Today's guest is my very good friend, Courtney. And I'm super excited because today we are going to dive into a role that so many educators work alongside, work with, but don't always fully understand or have a full grasp on. Courtney is currently an elementary school BCBA, but before that, she was a special education teacher in a self-contained autism classrooms, multiple. That gives her such a unique perspective because she has experienced both sides of the experience, being the teacher and being the BCBA trying to help the teacher. So today we are talking about what a school-based BCBA actually does, what they definitely don't do, how they collaborate with teachers, what behavior support really looks like, transitioning out of the classroom, and balancing all of that while being a wife and a mom of two. So, Courtney, welcome to the pod.
I'm so excited. Yay.
And nervous, don't lie.
I'm nervous.
All
I
right,
have my little fidget.
perfect. Using your tools. So, let's
Exactly.
dive into who even are you? What'd you go to school for? And then bring us to right now.
Okay, it's a long journey. So, I ever since I was a wee little girl, like 3 years old, coming home from preschool, sitting at my dollies, I would teach them everything I learned at school that day, and I've always wanted to be a teacher. It wasn't until my brother, fast forward, we're 10 years apart. He's diagnosed with autism and auditory processing. And when I was helping him at a neurologist appointment once, he just wasn't understanding what was being asked of him. I think he was like 5, 4 or 5. And I stepped in and the doctor said, "You really should, be a special education teacher." I was like, "What the hell is a special education teacher?" Like, I only knew about gen ed. I was, I think, 14 at the time. Wasn't even thinking about anything like that. So fast forward, went to college and I started with my elementary ed and psych degree with a dual certification in special ed and early childhood. And everyone's like, "You're absolute crazy for doing 4 things at one time."
Yeah.
But I did it in 4 years. It didn't take me any longer than that. Um, and then once I got my, dipped my toes in a little bit with special education, I ended up doing an internship in a private school undergrad, I think my junior year. And that was my introduction to ABA and seeing what that all looked like. Because before
Pause.
then,
Explain what ABI is for the listeners who have no idea.
okay. ABA is stands for Applied Behavior Analysis. So it's the science of human behavior. And what that means is there's many different ways that we can help support individuals who are looking to, better their wellness journey, working with patients in hospitals. In this particular example, it's a lot of times used in special education, self-contained settings, even in gen ed settings. So anyway, I learned so much about what that entailed and who specifically worked in those different types of settings. It wasn't just teachers. It was registered behavior technicians, also known as RBTs, and then BCBAs, board certified behavior analyst, which I am now. Um, After that, I decided I was having trouble getting a job out of college. I didn't know how long or how quickly that would take.
Because that was back when everyone wanted to be a teacher.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm not
When it
even
was
going to say the
actually
word.
hard, super hard to get a teaching job.
Yes. And in May at graduation, all of my friends, I felt at least, it wasn't everyone, but I felt like everyone except for me had a job. So I was like, forget this. I'm just going to apply to grad school and go to school for, it was applied psychology, was what the actual title of my college had it as. But it was psychology with a focus in applied behavior analysis. I ended up getting a job that had nothing to do with ABA. It was a resource room position. But it worked out because it was part-time. I got accepted into grad school, started my coursework, and I was able to do that working part-time as a teacher, which was a blessing. And then after that, well, we can get into later what it means to become a BCA, but it involves a lot. And basically, the school that I was at, it was a public school at the time, was not going to provide me with the supervision hours I needed. So back to the drawing board, back to applying for jobs. Um, Before I left there, it was resource room and co-teaching. So again, no real experience with EBA in the public setting, which meant I wasn't really going to get what I needed anyway. So again, a blessing in disguise. I got hired at a private school locally, was there for 4 years, got my supervision hours, gained a ton of experience. Um, and then I had my first baby. I became a mom, and it was a 12-month school, and I wanted to be home for my kiddo. So again, applying for jobs, which then got me into the public school. In my dream position, I always wanted to be a preschool autism teacher, which is where I landed, as you know, which is where we met.
Yes.
Um,
We worked in the same district.
yes, I I was very blessed and I was so happy. I could have stayed there for the rest of my career. But then again, life happens. I passed the exam, which took a few tries because life, and I wanted to pursue something further in my career and not just stay a teacher forever. I wanted to be my dream beyond being a teacher was then to become a BCBA within a school setting because I saw the gaps that were needed to be filled as a teacher through those supports, and I wanted to be the one to give those to the teachers.
And, like, not for nothing, at least here, like, BCBAs do get paid more than
Yeah,
teachers, which, like
yeah. I mean, that's a plus. That obviously
yeah.
wasn't like my driving
Yeah.
factor into going that route, but it's a plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. Um, and not for nothing, teachers have a lot on their plates, but I did not realize how much was gonna be on my plate as a BCBA, which we can get into, later in our conversation. But yeah, I didn't get the opportunity to stay in the district that we were in, to fulfill that role. So I reached out elsewhere. I was applying for jobs. It was August. I was like, "Oh, I guess I'm going back to teaching."
Yep.
Um, Nothing was sticking, and then I got the call for an interview in another local district that is where I'm at now, and I absolutely love it.
Do you remember being at my house and I was like, "You have to call our principal, like, you have to tell him you're leaving," and you're like, "I don't wanna do it."
I know, I hate change. I mean, who likes change? Maybe some people do, but it's very, very hard. Especially when I mean, you were there, our other friends were there, the kids were great. It was just an amazing place,
I
and
had just left, so I think
oh,
that
you had just
I
left,
think,
that's
like,
right.
not that that, like, helped you, but, like, I think a little bit it was helpful because I had just done it. I had, like, just left. So I was
And
like,
maybe
"Come
because
on."
I saw how how anxious and upset you were, I was like, "Oh, no, I'm gonna be feeling the same exact way."
Oh, yeah, cried all
Um,
summer.
yeah, but I forget. Oh, you pushed me to send the email because I had it typed up. I was, like, freaking
About
out at your
about
house about
ab
resigning.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, thank God I did because I am absolutely loving where I'm at now. I think the
Yeah.
biggest thing I knew it's where I wanted to jump, but like I said, the people surrounding me have become my closest friends that I was having a hard time leaving the social aspects, and I feel like
Oh, yeah. It was
that
also gonna
is
be in the middle of the year. You had to then give 60 days, and you were not gonna
mm,
leave until October, so, like,
right.
that played a role. It was the school that we loved working at, that played a role. It was a
Mhm.
huge change, you didn't know anyone where you were going to work. I mean, I could go on and on, like,
Right.
it was a lot.
And I was afraid I wouldn't make those same friendships or work with nice people. Like, you never know what you're gonna get yourself into in any new situation.
Yeah.
Um, but luckily, the people I work with are outstanding. My supervisor is amazing. My principal's amazing. Like, I could not have been more I keep saying blessed, but, like, it's truly everything has been a blessing in my career, my journey. Um, and I'm just so happy where I'm at now. And
Yeah.
I would say anyone who is looking to make the jump to something different, you've also said this many times, um, on other episodes and on Instagram. If you're if you're staying just for the friendships or because you feel bad for your students, like, sometimes you have to look internally and see what do I need to keep myself happy? And that's my number one advice for anybody is if you're looking to make that jump, do it because you're not gonna
Yeah.
regret it, even if you feel like it's gonna be a regret in the moment.
Yeah, and you're
Anyway, that's
no,
like
I
a whole
mean, you're
side
not
convo.
not only have I said that, but other people that have come on have said the exact same thing, so hopefully we're getting through to somebody on this pod.
Yeah.
I
And
guess
again, and again, and again.
I know, hopefully more than one person.
Yeah.
Um, so let's for those people that don't know, let's as quickly as we can
Yep.
describe, like, what is a BCBA in a school setting? Like, let's focus on the school because there could be BCBAs in many different settings, but let's focus on the school.
Yes.
What what is it that you are? What do you do? What do you not do? Like, give us a general overview.
Yeah. So, um, it's it's different and same everywhere. I'm lucky that I am one of 7 district behaviorists. I know many other places, most other districts are not so lucky. They only have 1, or maybe 2. So collaboration is huge for me, especially having entered into a new role. So that is an ongoing thing. I support my self-contained classrooms. I am assigned to students that are in gen ed that have IEPs with behavior support. I also work with students who are in RTI right now for tier 2 intervention that need behavior support. I also work with private providers that have my students go to outside of obviously the school day. Um, that's an amazing opportunity to be able to collaborate to make sure that there's continuity between school and home and, in settings if they're going to a private setting after school. And lots of meetings. There are lots of meetings that happen. Lots of paperwork. So I'm writing reports, working on, behavior plans, elopement plans, FBAs, functional behavior assessments, which entails a lot of information. I was explaining to my husband, I said to him, I think I'm going to have to do 2 come September already, looking at some of my kiddos through ESY. And he's like, well, what does that look like? I'm like, well, a lot of observations, a lot of data collection, a lot of interviews, parent interviews, every single adult in the school that interacts with this child, I have to get, answers to questions from. And then I have to summarize all of that and it becomes like a 12 to 15-page report. That takes a long time. So one thing, when people are like, "Oh, you must love your new job." I absolutely do. What one thing was that I didn't expect was as a teacher, you have paperwork. You have a lot of paperwork. It's different, but it's a lot still. But you're
Yeah, but
also have
I'm not writing 15 pages of something, let's
no,
be honest. I'm not.
exactly, exactly. I mean, being in both shoes, each role has its own challenges. However, I didn't realize how much I would actually be sitting to write these reports. Whereas being in the as the teacher in the classroom, you're up, you're moving, you're teaching at the board, you're teaching at the table, you're walking from, special to the classroom to lunch to, whatever. And then it was like a very sudden shift
Yeah,
that I had to learn
yeah,
quickly.
you were like, "Wait, I actually have to sit a lot." And,
Yeah.
like, not just sit and do nothing, like, you're sitting, you're writing reports, and then, like, mid writing a report, you're, like, deep in it, you're getting a walkie call, you gotta go well, I'll let you talk about that, but, like, you
Yeah.
gotta get up, you gotta go, then you gotta get back to your desk and, like, attempt to find where you were in that report to, like,
Yep.
keep going, like, I can't even
Yes. It's like a nice little song and dance.
yeah.
A little circus routine.
So, lots of reports,
Yep.
lots of meetings, IEP
Mhm.
meetings, RTI meetings,
Yep, I meet
etcetera.
with my teachers, and every district, I would assume, does this differently, but where I'm at, we, have what we call consult times, so teachers, can either sign up or I suggest times for us to meet once a week with every single self-contained teacher. The gen ed teachers are not required, but I have met with, some of them as well if there's a more detailed case, and we talk about where's this child going next in this goal set. They've mastered this. What do you think? Oh, I'm starting to see these behaviors. What suggestions do you have? Can I come in and do an observation? What type of data collection? Like, it's a very in depth. We could talk for hours. Obviously, I'm
Yeah.
only given a certain amount of time, um, but it's nice in that way because it allows for authentic collaboration, I guess you could say. Um,
Yeah.
and not only with my teachers, but I've also set up meetings with the speech therapist one on one to say, okay, this is what we're seeing happening with this student. How do you think that we can work together to either switch up what's happening on his AAC device, or how can we incorporate functional communication in these certain settings? So it's not just me, vomiting out all this information that needs to be executed in the classrooms and around the school, but it's truly like a wheelhouse of expertise coming together and putting these individualized instructions and interventions in place for the students.
Remember when you were like, "I'm so nervous, I don't think I'm gonna be able to talk well?"
I could talk for hours now once you get me going.
Okay, great. Um, so
Next question.
you just yeah, so what about, like, I kinda hinted at it, like, those walkie calls that are coming in or
Oh,
those,
yes.
you talked a lot about, like, the structured things you have to do, like scheduled IEP meetings, scheduled consult times, you're writing reports. What about that walkie call, the arrival or dismissal chaos, like, those kinda things? Can you kind of explain, like, what your role is there in
Mhm.
helping students and teachers, and also, like, what your role is not there?
Yes. So the teachers are professionals. I guess I'll start with the what my job is not, because that's the last question you asked, and that's what's kind of stuck in my brain right now.
Yeah.
Uh, I am not the, a student's hiding under a desk, let me call the behaviorist. That's like a running joke between me and one of the other teachers. Um,
Yeah.
the teachers are given tools and have tools themselves. Like they'll come to me with some suggestions, and I'll be like, "Great, I didn't even think of that. That's fabulous." Um, to try out first, right? We disseminate the tools, the staff utilizes those tools, and then if behavior continues or escalates to a point where it's not manageable or unsafe, that's when I should be called. So I am not the fix fairy, to put it
Oh, I like
simply.
that.
I don't have
Wait till my school BCBA hears this.
the
She's
fix
gonna love
fairy.
that phrase, and I just know her. I know she's gonna start using that phrase. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're not the
Yep.
fix fairy.
I don't have the magic wand to fix every little thing.
Did
And
you come up with that?
I just came up with it right now. Look at
And
me.
and you were nervous to come on the pod. Okay, so you're not the fix fairy.
I'm not the fix fairy, but I am there to support and provide suggestions and remind you also. Sometimes we forget what the protocol is. I've been there as a teacher myself. Like you're in the behavior and you're basically trying to just survive
Yeah.
until somebody else comes to say, oh, like they're an outside perspective looking in. Have you tried this? Sometimes it's helpful if I step in as a new person in the situation, and sometimes it completely escalates the situation,
Yep.
which is where I will stand back and I will coach the either aide or the teacher to say or do what needs to be done. And oftentimes that's the route that should be taken because the person who delivered the instruction, the behavior happened, the person now ending the behavior and de-escalation should follow through with the original direction so that every child is different with what they're either trying to escape or avoid or want attention, so on and so forth, but at the end of the day the person who started it should end it as well. um, so that's my answer to that question. And then as far as just like teachers, we had beautiful lesson plans ready to start the day and get it going. It's laid out perfectly. Nothing can go wrong.
Mhm.
And then everything gets derailed. I have a beautiful schedule of classrooms I'm going to go and support. I'm going to model something new for this teacher one day. And then the walkie calls happen. I
Mhm.
mean, it's a daily thing. And that's what I'm there for. Please, I always say they're also the opposite, right? There's the people who are still learning or might need a little bit more support and call me too frequently, think that I'm the fix fairy. And then
Mhm.
there's the staff who don't call me enough, or I find out about a situation later and I was like, "Why didn't you ask for help? Like, why did you Why did you work through all of that for such a long period of time without having another hand in the room?
Yeah.
Um, so I always say, like, when in doubt, call. I can always come in and be like, just stand back and observe and then give you the, "You good? Do you still need me here? Yes, okay. If not, call me again if you need anything." Um, when in doubt, call. Even if it derails anything, I don't mind.
Yeah.
The teachers sometimes will
Well,
apologize and be like, "I'm so sorry." And I'm like, "This is my job. I love
yeah.
it. Don't say sorry. Like, I'm here for you." I remember being the teacher in your position and wanting more support. And
Yeah.
I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I do have a good rapport with my teachers, and they always say how grateful they are. So I'm happy that I'm hopefully fulfilling my role the way that I've
Yeah.
wanted to.
Well, and I think something important that you said that I wanna point out, like, from the teacher perspective, I think it's so important knowing, like, we're calling you because we need you, but
Mhm,
sometimes it's just we need you to just stand there. And that's, like, for anyone that gets called on the walkie, I think, like, that's been so hard. Sometimes in my classroom, people come in and they try to jump in, and no one knows that child and that child's triggers, etcetera, more than me and the people that work in my room all day, every day. So unless
100%.
we ask someone
Mhm,
else to come jump in, your job is to stand back until, like, I call that I like, or I motion that I need you over. So I think
mhm.
and my behaviorist, I do hope she listens to this episode, she does such a good job of that. Like, she will just stand at the door and just, like, give me a thumbs up, and I'm just like, "Yep," and I feel better that she's just there because
Mhm.
sometimes she needs to see things that she doesn't always get to see, like, she's not based in my school. She covers all of the elementary schools in my district, which is insane.
God
Um
bless. I don't know how people do that.
right, in your building, I think do you have 2 BCBAs?
Yeah, myself and the other BCBA, she primarily works with the preschoolers and some of the gen ed kids.
Right, so in your 1 building, you have 2. In my district, there's I don't even know how many elementary schools, there's so many to count, and she is 1 person. So a lot of times
Mhm.
she's not even in my building. So when she is and a behavior's happening, I mainly just call her so she could see it,
Yeah.
because other than that, I'm just telling her about these behaviors, and obviously she believes me. It's not a matter of her not believing me, but, like, I want her to be able to experience it herself. So anyway, all that to say that I think it's very much appreciated, and you know this because you were a teacher, but it's so appreciated by the teacher when people coming in know their role, know their place, and sometimes it is to tap someone else out. Like, there's
Mhm.
been big behaviors where me or my assistants are like, "Tap us out," and, like, we switch, but a lot of times it's just to stand back and be a
And
support.
that's okay too to say like I need a break because if you're not ready 100% to dive into what is needed in that moment, the child will pick up on that.
Yeah,
And we tell the kids like if you're not ready, take a break.
yeah,
If you're struggling, take a break. If you need to go take a walk, if you need a drink of water, if you need to go in the calm corner, we're human. Adults
yeah.
need that too, and we can get overstimulated and overwhelmed in certain situations. And we need to be okay saying, "Hey, I need a minute."
Oh, yeah. I love telling my kids I need to go to the Zen den.
I wish that we had a Zen den. That would be
I
so nice.
know,
I love your Zen den.
I know. Um,
Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention too, I mean, I'm talking a lot about the self-contained classes specifically, but
yeah,
um, even, the gen ed classrooms that I support and have students with behavior plans in there, I I try my best to give the tools that are necessary to those teachers as well to try out first before calling for me. And just like you said, sometimes those teachers will call me because it just so happens that every time I'm in the room to take data on a certain behavior that happens at a certain time, it never happens at that certain time, but it always happens
obviously.
when I'm not in the room. So if it is happening, sometimes I'll get a call. They'll say like, not an emergency or not urgent. And I'll know that I can just like step to the side or peek in the little door frame and observe the behavior and finally see because if I am doing, and this happened last year, I had to do an FBA on a student who was exhibiting extremely intense like tantrums. And every time I would go in for an observation, and I do observations in every setting that the children are in to get a full rounded picture. It didn't happen,
Of
not once.
course. Of course.
So it's very helpful to be called in just to observe a behavior as well, even if help isn't like 100% needed at that time. You've got it under control.
Yes, but I'm glad you brought up gen ed rooms, and I don't wanna just pinpoint gen ed rooms and gen ed teachers, so we can talk in general about every classroom, every teacher. What kind of things are more like, this is a classroom management, behavior management thing, like,
Mhm.
as a teacher, you need to
Yeah.
manage this?
Yeah.
And when does it cross the line to, "Oh, you really need a BCBA because this might need a behavior plan, this might need this, that, the other." Like,
Mhm.
I see my school counselor and my behaviorist being called a lot to things that I know nothing about, right? I'm not in
Mhm.
that room. I will never say I know anything about what's going on in that person's room. But that sometimes end up not needing them. It doesn't
Mhm.
need the situation does not need them. So
Right.
in from your experience, where is the line? What is a behavior? Because
Right.
behaviors, let's actually start there. Behaviors are not just tantrums.
Well,
Behaviors are not
we
just
actually
kicking, screaming, throwing, biting.
right.
Let's talk about that.
I mean, we say behaviors, it's such a fluid phrase in our industry, our field, whatever you wanna call it. Um, we are engaging in behavior right now, we're talking.
Right.
Behaviors, behavior, sleeping, sleeping, writing, standing appropriately in line,
Yeah.
that's a behavior. Like, all of that's behavior. So,
Right.
maladaptive behaviors, unexpected behaviors, whatever new name you wanna coin, all of that means the same thing. Um, my school district, the one thing I'm gonna say that's different from what we've experienced and you've had in multiple districts is the co-teaching model, where there's a gen ed teacher and a special ed teacher in the classroom. The district I'm in does not have that model. It is just the gen ed teacher, and that's the gen ed teacher, and that's it.
Well,
With
even
IEP
though
students in the room
right.
who will either get push in resource help or pull out. Um, so I give those teachers even more credit because they are 1 to like 18 to 21 kids who have students right now. I mean, the big phrase we're hearing, executive functioning, right? We're putting a whole curriculum together in my district for that. And it's something that's not new. It's not something that is just popping up now. It's something that's been around forever. And we're just honing in on what that looks like. So a lot of times in the beginning of the year, as students are adapting, teachers are getting used to their kids, I will get called in for so and so is standing and not sitting in their seat. So and so is running around the room. So and so, didn't put their belongings in their cubby. Everything's laying on the floor. That's not a reason to call me.
Right.
Email me and say, "Can we have a conversation? I'd like your suggestions on or ideas on tools and ways that I can help this student with maybe visuals or, whatever the case may be." My teachers are great that I work with. They understand. I usually give it to them straight in a very professional way, of course. But those are not things that I should be called for. Those are basic classroom management skills that should be taught, right? Like, what does it look
Yeah.
like to sit in your seat? What does it look like to stand in line at the door to transition out? What does it look like to rotate around centers? What does it look like to wait? What does it look like to sit at circle time?
To follow a direction, like,
Yeah.
it's just I think I don't know. I know from the teacher perspective, there's too much for us to handle in a day.
Mhm.
We're too overwhelmed. We have too much going on. Like, I mean, I'll say that forever, but I just
Yeah.
think that sometimes you have to like look within first and be like, what am I doing? What am I not doing? What can I do more of? How can
Mhm.
I and then like because
Right.
it's so funny, right? Because we say, like, reach out for help, right? Like, ask for help, like, don't, like, stress yourself out, like, reach out to others, but I think, like, there's a fine line, like, you have such a job to do the counselor has such a job to do. Everyone has to do their job. Part of our job as the teacher is classroom management and behavior management over our class.
Mhm.
And we
Yeah,
have
like, what
to do
systems are you putting in place to reinforce the whole class versus
right,
individualize? Like,
systems. Put some
yeah,
systems in place.
everyone go check
Right,
out
like you
Rachel's
said.
systems podcast.
Right. Look, go back and listen to all of my episodes about systems, but like you said, what did you say that I was gonna just repeat?
Um, just the basics of the day, like, what does it look like to sit in your seat and follow directions, line up at the door, that?
I
Yeah,
don't know what I was gonna say, but
okay.
I don't know, I feel really strongly about this because
Yes.
and
It's a
but
big
I'm
topic
coming
that's being
from
discussed.
right, but I'm also coming from the self-contained world. So I know
Yes.
my teacher brain is just set differently than, like, if we were sitting here with a gen ed teacher who has taught gen ed for 20 years.
Mhm.
We would be having a different conversation because I started with preschool special ed, and I've said this on the podcast before, that shaped how I am as a teacher. It
I would
made
agree.
me
I think that was a huge role for
it
me
made
to
me
grow
learn
professionally too.
right, like, it made me learn that every kid can have an individualized, like, plan and system, and, like, I'm gonna work my you know what off to make sure that, "Oh, he's struggling with that, I'm gonna come up with a new system. I'm gonna do this.
Mhm.
The amount of, like, token boards and systems and the stars going everywhere, I mean, I would do it all, so then I took that into 2nd grade, into 3rd grade, last year, 3rd and 4th, 1st and 2nd, like, I have now brought that. So that's just how my brain works. A
Right.
gen ed teacher has 20 kids in front of them. They
Mhm.
see it differently. They see it as everyone needs to be following the one
Yes.
direction I'm giving,
Yeah, that's
and
true, and
they're
it's been
not
said by
wrong.
some of my gen ed teachers out loud, very
Yes.
straightforward, and that's just not how a classroom works.
Well, right. That's not how some of our kids function, so it can't be how classrooms
Right.
work anymore.
Right.
And you used to have to conform to that, or you were just shoved into another class and, like
Right.
but now, I mean, we see kids of all needs and whatever. So, even in a gen ed class, a gen ed student might be in there that cannot sit in a chair and needs to maybe have a standing desk. So that kid's desk needs the custodian to come in and just put it up a couple notches so they can stand instead of sit. Like little things like that, but as the teacher in the room, and the counselor at my school and I have talked about this so much. We wish that we could like do PD days about this.
Mhm.
The gen ed teachers just don't think like that because they
Well,
just didn't have to, and I don't think they're to blame for that.
no, I mean, it's you know what you know, and I say that all the time because I wouldn't know what I know now had I not been given the different experiences that I was lucky enough to have,
Yeah.
and a lot of teachers just have said, that's not my job,"
Yeah.
which maybe 20 years ago, it was just to stand in front of a classroom and teach the curriculum and then move on with your life at the end of the day, but it's not like that anymore,
Yeah.
and like you said, we have to meet the needs of all the students in the classroom, whatever that may look like, and just the basics of classroom management can't be forgotten either, and I feel like that gets lost in the sauce sometimes.
Yeah, or like the first system you implement for classroom management in September is realistically not going to last you until June.
Right.
Like, it's simply not. I had to help a teacher this past year come up with, like, a new reset system in, like, January, February because his class was just, like, falling apart because it's not realistic anymore to expect the kids to work for the same thing or, like, be motivated from September to June.
Mhm.
I mean, we can't even get kids to sit for, like, 10 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
forget
I have an amazing first grade teacher. I mean, they're all amazing, but one in particular, um, year after year, students are so successful in that classroom because they are up at the end of every instructional period doing a brain break, um, or, doing a check-in. They have I forget what the motivational system is in that room, but it is the same throughout the whole year, but what they can do with it is different throughout the whole year, and that's key because kids' motivation changes
Yep.
hour to hour, really, sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, and she just brings the whole room to life. And then another thing that I wanna say too is visuals are huge, especially with the little learners. They're not processing all of the stimuli that are coming in auditorily. They need to see what's expected of them.
Yep.
And, that particular teacher that I'm talking about now also does such a beautiful job putting visuals up. The timer on the board, the beautiful Lakeshore timer that has the red, the kids need to see when is the time gonna be ending, not just an abrupt, "Okay, we're done now." I mean, that alone sets the occasion for huge behaviors because transitions can be tough.
For any kid.
So, for any kid.
Yep.
So, my biggest thing is too, if you're a gen ed teacher struggling, I would take a look at your systems, really look in fine detail the profile of your students, especially the ones that you seem to be having sort of like if you're butting heads with them, if you're struggling to figure them out, um, and see how you can help support them with maybe they need tools in their toolkit to help de-escalate themselves or self-regulate. And we use the zones of regulation a lot. I love that curriculum.
Yeah.
Look at your systems in the classroom. What motivational systems do you have in place for the whole class? And how often are your students getting up versus sitting down? That's a big piece of it too. Our kids are not meant to be sitting for X amount of time.
Right.
They need to be up and moving.
So while we are talking about some things that you do and do not do,
I
some
know we kind of derailed a little bit, but that's okay.
Mhm, of course we did. Some myths about your job. I mean, first of all, you only work with autistic friends.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's it. No, I work with everybody.
Right. I
Work
mean,
with
we've
many, many students with many different, classifications and needs. Where
and
you're as needed as where I am.
most with IEPs, some with not.
Correct. Yep.
We talked about how you don't only get called when a student is in crisis. Sometimes you're called to just, observe certain things, whatever. We talked about how you are not the fix fairy.
I am not the
Um,
fixed fairy.
and then the last myth that I had written down to discuss is that you just tell teachers what to do. And we discussed that you're a great BCBA and a great collaborator, and you do not just go in and say, you need to do this.
Exactly. You said it earlier too, like the teachers and even the aides too. I remind the teachers because this was a huge piece of my philosophy when I was a teacher is sometimes the aides are face to face with the students more than you are in a day or in a week, depending on what your meeting schedule and your
Yeah.
IEP season, that's a wild time looks like. And I used to go to them, hey, I'm thinking about putting this in place for this student. What do you think about that? There is so much appreciation there because, I mean, it's been said many times here and elsewhere. The teaching assistant, the aides, the pairs, whatever you call them in your district, do not often get the praise and the acknowledgement that they deserve because they are the most important people in our buildings.
Oh, yeah.
So to include them in the process of your students is definitely something that should be happening. So I take suggestions, I communicate with my teachers, I communicate with the staff in the room. It's like you said before, it's a collaborative effort to help these students. It's not just me coming in and being like, "Well, this is the plan in place, execute it.
Right.
See you later." Um, and I meet with the staff in the morning. We have morning meetings every once in a while, depending on what's needed or if there's a change in a student's either behavior plan or a protocol put in place to make sure that everyone is on the same page and they understand how to follow through with the plan that we're going to be delivering. So it's not just me coming in and saying, "Here you go. Have a good day."
That would make your job easier if you could just go in and do that, but that wouldn't.
God, that would probably actually it would, but in the long run, it would make it so much harder.
Question for you. Since you sometimes work with students that you haven't seen in days, maybe
Mhm.
weeks, because maybe they're doing well, whatever, you work with students that are new to you. How are you, like, building trust with that student? Like, how is that relationship starting?
Mhm.
Because I'm trying to think, like I said, my BCBA is hopping around schools. So, like, what are some tips you have for building trust with kids like
Yeah.
that?
Well, one thing that I do is even if they are having a good streak, let's say, um, I still put it in my schedule. If they're if it's in the IP that I do a consult with them, let's say twice a month, I'm making sure that I'm in there maybe once a week. So that way I can one, see how they're doing and what they're doing. And two, they can see me. Because if they don't see me or know who I am, how are they going to trust me when they need me at their most vulnerable?
Yeah.
Um, I also will, if I'm getting a new student on my caseload, I will set up an interview with the parents to find out what they like. And then I'll take that and I'll bring it into the classroom. I had a student, not this year, but the year before, who was needing a lot of support. And I just met with the student for every day for a week, just pulling the student to the back of the classroom, having conversations, engaging in, whatever activity that student was enjoying at the time, making myself seem fun.
Yeah.
I am fun, but, in their eyes, they're like, "What is this adult doing in here with me right now? Like, why are you here?"
Yeah.
Um, so I wanna make sure that I'm building a positive rapport with them, so that way when I do need to come in, they are not resistant to my support.
Yeah, that's good.
Mhm.
So, since you've been both a teacher and a BCBA, what do you think has been helpful during that transition for you? Like, you obviously chose to switch.
Yeah.
You kind of talked about why a little bit. Like, what has been helpful since you've been a teacher now that you're a BCBA?
Everything, I think. Like, I think the biggest piece is communication and
Yeah.
understanding where if there's if there's not communication happening and there's gestures or body language, I sort of understand what they're feeling, what they're going through. So I can initiate a conversation with them if something isn't going right with, or if they're feeling down about something that happened with a student that day. Some days are really hard and it sucks. You go home questioning, could I have done something different? Is this the best thing for the student? What can I do better? And in this field, you really have a huge heart to help these kids and you can get down on yourself. So I think being able to have that like sympathy, empathy, and understand what they're going through is huge because it allows for an okay conversation to have after the fact. Um, I think understanding the level of work that's required to get done because there are people who I've worked with who have never stepped foot in a classroom before and they're like this needs to be done, you need to do this by this date, this and this need to be delivered to so and so by this date, and it's like whoa, pump the brakes. Like, do you even know what goes into my day to day? This is not realistic. So I think being a teacher gives me the realistic perspective of what to expect, not only on my self-contained staff, but also gen ed staff as well.
Yeah, agreed. I think I have worked with BCBAs that were contracted in, so they work at an agency, and this person in particular had never worked as a teacher. They've only worked as a behavior analyst, a BCBA. So, definitely having behaviorists that have been teachers is
Mhm.
a world of a difference. They
Yes.
just get it. They just get it.
And now that I'm thinking about it, every colleague of mine that I work alongside were all teachers first. So, like, I I was the first out of district hire for a behaviorist role. Every behaviorist in my district was an aide first mostly, or a teacher first, or an aide that was a teacher that's now a behaviorist. Like, they really do support, like, growth in the district, which is nice to see.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I like how how grateful am I that they trusted me to come in, and I just love everybody, they're great.
Oh my god, just a love affair over there.
I know. I was gonna say something
So
else, and I don't remember what it was. Oh, it's gonna come to me, and I'm just gonna spit it out. So go ahead, ask
Great.
your
Well, I'm actually switching the topic a little bit. So
Okay.
outside of school, Courtney
Oh, I remember what I was gonna say.
no,
There
class
it is.
sure. Go
It
ahead.
has to do with being a mother. You said outside of school. I think that also being a mom has helped me understand dealing with parents
Oh,
because there are some things that are brought to my attention or said to me by individuals who are not parents yet or just are not parents. Um and I feel like I bring a little bit of light into an another perspective in a conversation that might be had. And then it's understood like, okay, well, that parent's not being difficult. They just are advocating for their child, and
yeah.
they have a right to understand what's happening in those walls during the day if they have questions about it, especially for children who have such intense, challenging behaviors because it's it's a lot for parents at home, and they wanna know how they're doing in school too. So
Yeah.
I'm okay having that conversation if a parent needs me to pick up a phone and call them and run through what are their behaviors, look like on the graph this month, or
Yeah.
how is Johnny performing, um, going into the gen ed classroom for morning meeting because he hasn't been able to do that for 5 years and now he's finally able to do it. It's okay to give parents the answers to some of their questions.
Yeah.
So please.
I yeah. I mean, I definitely don't have kids, but I think working in special ed, I have that mindset still of like these parents are dropping their kids off with us all day and trusting that like we got them. And, like, the amount of phone calls, even just this past year I'm thinking of, that I've scheduled at, like, 3:15, and, like, 3:15 is when teachers can leave. But, like, that's when I have the time to sit and talk to you, and you're out of work. So, like, I'll talk to you at 3:15,
Mhm.
simply because they wanted to know more about a situation they saw on the kids' chart, or they wanna know how their medication change is going or whatever, and, like, I'll sit and talk to you. I have the
Yeah.
time or I'll call you on my way to an appointment. I love doing that. I love chatting in the car. I'll call a parent on the way to an appointment. I think that's so important, and I'm not saying that everyone should take up their personal time and do things like that, but I do think, like you said, being understanding of these parents that sometimes we label difficult when really they just want an inside look of how their kids' other half of their day is going. They only see them for
Mhm.
half the day, not even, and we
Right.
have them for the rest. Like, they deserve an inside look into what that looks like. So, I
Yeah.
agree with you.
Thanks. You do a nice job with that. I've
Thank
witnessed firsthand.
thank you. So, outside of school now, you are
Uh-huh.
a mommy.
I
So,
am.
let's talk about being a wife, being a mom, how we just discussed how being a mom kind of shifted your perspective a little bit.
Mhm.
Has it changed the way you do anything in the classroom or as a BCBA? Because you've been a mom for what, like 7 years now?
Yep. Wow, that's
So
crazy.
yeah, no, and I just, like, knew that right away, so that was really good. Um, you were a teacher during that time and a BCBA during that time, so
Mhm.
has being a mom changed things for you?
Yes. I used to stay at work until 8 o'clock at night. I
Mm,
think every young teacher does that,
yeah.
because, one more I'll get one more thing done, or I wanna make this better, or
Yeah.
I can I'll just get it done and then I won't have to worry about it tomorrow. But then what happens, I'm sure a lot of us feel this, is the burnout. And then you don't like
Yeah.
your job anymore. And then you're looking for something new. But once you take a step back and take care of yourself, everyone gets a little bit of, you know, the repercussions of what that looks like. You're more present, you're more happy, you're more willing to during the day. You're not so tired and burnt out. And even, I mean, my own kids, I was just at a massage this afternoon and I had the babysitter take care of them because if I don't take care of myself, then I am a cranky mama
Yeah.
if I'm uncomfortable in my own skin. So I always say, make sure you put your priorities first because it's like, I mean, how many people have said the same analogy I'm about to say is you need to put your mask on first in a plane crash before you put it on your kiddos. So if you're not taking care of yourself first, you're not at 100% to give them what they deserve out of you. So that definitely was a huge shift. And I advocate so much for teachers and my colleagues to close it up at contract hour ending time
Yep.
and be present at the end of the day because your family is the one who needs you, whatever that looks like, or your friends, you deserve you time. Um, your work will be there for you tomorrow. There's always going to be something to do. So that's my bit of advice, especially becoming a mom. And every other teacher friend I'm sure you've spoken to as well has had that shift once having a kid.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just
I mean,
huge difference. It's a perspective change, honestly.
yeah, I think that shift for me started during, like, COVID, I'll always say, I think. Like,
Mhm.
I definitely still spend a good amount of time at school or getting ready for, like, the school year, like, right now, but
Yeah, but that's like typical timing. I feel like you
yeah,
do such a nice job putting yourself first now too, like making sure that you are filling your cup with family and friends and making sure that you have you time at the
yeah,
end of the night and you're doing something for you and not doing something for school. So I'm proud of you.
yeah, and like I said, I think COVID helped that because I was like, "Oh my god, I could do work from my couch at
Yeah.
home with my reality TV on," and that's kinda when it shifted, and I wasn't staying
Mhm.
at school until it was dark out. Um
Yippers.
So there's a ton more we could probably talk about as far as your job
So
and, like,
many.
what you do, but we're not gonna do that today. We're gonna bring you back on the pod and talk a little bit more at another time. So for now, I would like to end this episode with some rapid fire questions. Are you
Oh my
ready?
god.
And
Sure, let's do it.
I told Marissa last episode that when we are at school and I want my students to work faster, I tell them to
Mhm.
work in fast forward. So we're gonna work
Is
in
this like good
fast
for
forward.
my anxiety? I feel like I'm gonna freeze. Let's
Probably
try it.
probably not. I'm probably
It'll be
triggering
an
you.
experiment.
So, what's your coffee order?
Oh my gosh, I don't drink coffee.
I
You
literally
know
knew you were
this.
gonna say that. Okay. She drinks some energy thing in the morning,
Yeah,
but not like Monster, like a healthy one.
yeah.
Okay, skip that one.
Yep,
What
moving on.
what's your favorite teacher supplies you can't live without?
Oh my god. Velcro and laminating sheets.
Yes. What is your favorite behavior strategy?
Ooh.
Oh, I know.
What?
I know what yours is because you said it. It's
Systems in the classroom?
obviously, but it starts with a
Mm,
V.
motivational system?
Starts with a V, as in vacuum. Visual.
Vacuum?
Visuals.
Oh, I was like, what do you use for a vacuum?
No, I thought you didn't hear
Maybe a
me.
punishment procedure, but we don't advocate for those.
No, you love a
Yes,
good
visuals.
visual,
I
like
do love a good
I
visual.
love a good visual.
Yeah.
What is one classroom management tip that everyone should try besides visuals?
I like the what is it called? Call and return.
Call and
Those
response.
are call and response, yeah. This is my
Yeah.
3rd year removed from the classroom, see, I'm forgetting the terms of things.
Yeah, really get
Um,
it together.
well, it is what time is it? This is
No,
almost 10 o'clock at night.
no, please, we're recording. Courtney made me record this at 9 p.m. I want to literally scratch my eyeballs out of my head. It is past my bedtime.
I think we're doing great. Um, yeah. What was the question again? Oh, classroom management systems.
Yeah.
Yeah, the call and response is definitely a huge one. And I like when the students have autonomy over the situation, so making sure that they are either,
That's
like,
your
starting to
choice.
talk. Yep. They could teach each other, the teacher does check-ins, but I really like, yeah, whole classroom management system and the call and response, that's huge to get their attention.
What is
One thi Nope, go ahead.
No, you go.
Okay. I was gonna say another thing that I don't it's a strategy, but it's more individualized, but making sure you have different types of opportunity for the students to either move around the room and do their work or sit or stand, or I love the little wiggle seats. Um, just like we said before, not every student learns the same way.
No. What is the most rewarding part of your job?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. We we always see the little successes, but when a parent contacts you and says that they're seeing something different or new at home that they've been trying to work on for years,
Yeah.
that that is so rewarding because you know that it's translated out at the school building. And the biggest part of my job that I love is, the kids are always at the center of my heart, but the biggest thing going into this role that I really, really was looking forward to, and I love to this day, is supporting teachers being successful with their students and helping parents have successes with their students at home. I think that's the most rewarding part of the job.
Yeah. What is the hardest part?
Getting buy-in from some people to help the students be successful, mostly the adults.
Yeah. Adult buy-in.
Mhm.
What is one thing that every teacher should remember when a student is having a hard day?
That it's not about you. It is something that they are trying to communicate to you because behavior is always a form of communication. I have a shirt that says that too. It could be that they're tired, they're hungry, the work is too hard, they need a break. It could be a slew of things. It could be that they had a really crappy morning at home and they got in trouble with their mom and dad, and it's translating into your school day because they're just not over it yet. It
Yeah.
has nothing to do with you, and it's your job to support them the best that they need, and sometimes, yes, it takes me to come in and analyze that situation a little bit, but always remember it's not you.
Facts. So, Courtney, thank
Yes, ma'am.
you so much for coming on to the pod today. You were so nervous and you just survived talking to me for 57 minutes. How are you feeling now?
I can keep going. I I had my little fidget
Yep.
for the first, like, 2 minutes, and then it was like,
You didn't
"Out
need
of
it.
here."
Did you even need
Hand
the notes that you
the
like wrote up?
Italian hand talking was coming out.
Did you even need your notes? Probably not.
No, I had them up in the background, but I didn't look at them at all.
So, I was right and you were fine.
Yes, you're always right.
Oh my God, I love that. Thank you so much. So, anyway, I thank you so much for coming onto the pod today. We
Thanks for having me.
definitely will be having you back because I think that this conversation definitely will help teachers, BCBAs, instructional assistants, anyone that works in a school, parents listening. I think that this has been really helpful. So I'm excited to have you back on so that we can kind of dive deeper. I think that conversations like this are so important because they remind us that supporting students is truly a team effort. Um, Thank you all so much for listening today. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with another educator. I will see you next week. Bye, everybody.